Good afternoon. I'm Kirsten Neese. I'm here in the Lexington model at Chickahominy Falls with Craig Logue, our Director of Sales. Today we're here to talk to you about the path to ownership, and specifically about the very end of the path to ownership, or at least the end when you get to close on your home. It's a very stressful and lots of moving parts and all kinds of different things going on, and we just want to be sure that you understand our processes and procedures and kind of some meaningful information for the very end of when you get to close on your home and through your warranty process. So thanks for joining me, Craig.
Sure.
Really appreciate you being here. You know, we close a lot of homes each year, and with each one there's a little bit of a challenge, but the process to closing is generally the same for everybody. And can you tell us a little bit about what they should expect about that week before closing?
Well, the week before closing, you will have an NHO, which is a new home orientation appointment set, usually 7 days before closing. And that's to take a final look at the house, see if there are things that need to be addressed. We will blue tape some areas if necessary, just mostly making sure that the house is ready to close the following week. During that process, we will make a list, which is called your NHO list, and that list will ultimately go in your permanent file. And the items on that list, it's always our goal to complete those items before closing. Mm-hmm. However, there are situations where it's not possible to do so, and so we want people to rest in comfort knowing that we will address those items afterwards, because they can't come out of your file or off of your list until you actually initial off on them.
Right, and so just something that with the new home orientation meeting, that is a meeting in your home. It's with it's with our warranty manager, and you are oriented with all of your systems and like your shutoff valves and how your all your appliances work, and your HVAC and your fireplace and your garage and all those kinds of things. And there are, like Craig is saying, several punch items that need to be completed at that point. When you are at your NHO, you're going to be getting a folder like this. Inside, there are several really important documents and really helpful information. One of the things is your home buyer guide. So this is always a great reference for you for when you are near your closing. There's a lot of helpful information in here. So Craig, let's talk about those items that are on their list and how, when you go to closing, how do those items, how does the buyer have assurance and know that those items are going to be taken care of? Who's responsible for taking care of them? And how do we track that?
Right. So after your NHO is complete, that list is sent into corporate, and it gets entered into a software system that we use that attaches it to your house's permanent record.
Okay.
And as those items are completed in that next week, notifications are sent in, and we check those items off the list. Only after, or ultimately after you all the buyer would initial the item. So, like I said before, we're hoping to get all of those done, but I want to be clear that if we don't get all the items done, contractually the buyer is still required to close.
Right.
And I know that may create some uneasiness. I know that that's not standard with regard to most residential real estate. It is standard with regard to most new home purchases. And a lot of our customers may have not bought a new home, or it's been a long time since they did, and you used to do new homes with a handshake. You're assured that we will complete those items, because we wouldn't have been in business for 25 years if we didn't complete those items.
Right, absolutely.
That's number one. Number two, it's also because we have a work ethic here at Cornerstone that's important to us, and it's important to all of us that the customer is happy. And we know that the way that the customer is going to be the happiest, of course, is if we complete their items. So.
Right. And the responsibility of those NHO items. So you're at the NHO with the warranty manager reviewing the house. So you have somebody that hasn't built your house observing it, looking at it with you, making sure that everything is noted that might need some attending to. But the people that build your house, our construction managers, they are the ones that are responsible for completing those items, because that's their responsibility, is to deliver you a completed home. And once you close, your home should ultimately be completed. But as Craig was saying, there might be a few outstanding items. So as we move past the completion of the NHO items, and those items fall off of your list, you should be receiving from corporate an email of your list. Every time you sign off on something, you'll be getting a list back to you. And so we want to make sure that your list is the same as our list. And that's why we send that back and forth to you. After you close, you're going to live in your home, and there's going to be other things that you're going to note and see that need attention. And that's why we have a 45-day list process, right? So let's talk about that and how what goes on there.
The other thing that I wanted to bring up before we tackle that process is that, as you mentioned, the construction manager is the one that's responsible for completing those items. And the best way to interact typically with your construction manager is email, because that way you've got a record of it and he has a record of it. If you go out and grab him on the street and ask him to come in and fix something, or tell him something that needs to be fixed that isn't officially on your list, that's just going to slow the process down.
Right. And there's this period where you've moved into your home and you've closed, and you may have some outstanding NHO items. We will take care of those, and we promise we will. But then we move into our warranty period. So when you note new things, what Craig is saying, like, don't grab your construction manager to have them complete the new things. Make sure they go
on the 45-day
list.
So the purpose of the 45-day list really is the same as the NHO list. The difference being that we've been in the home building industry for a while. We know that you're going to run across things that you think are things that should be corrected or that are warrantable items. We want you to have your list handy. We want you to put those items on the list. And then at 45 days after closing, it's very important that you email that list into warranty@cornerstonehomes.net. That way we can have a record of it. That way it can ultimately go on your permanent file. What happens at that point is an appointment will be set with our one of our warranty managers or technicians. They will come out and they will review that list with you. They will note on the list the things that are warrantable, and they will explain to you the things that may be on the list that are not warrantable and why they are not warrantable. At that point in time, you two will agree on the items on the list. The list will get emailed into the warranty department, and that starts a new process of items outstanding that need to be taken care of on your home. At that point in time, the warranty technician that did your appointment, that is your contact person. Your construction manager loves you, but those items are not things that he's responsible for. So again, mentioning those to him, sending him emails about those, grabbing him off the street about those items is just going to slow the process.
Right.
Those are not things that he is responsible for. Those are things that the warranty team is responsible for.
And a lot of times during that 45-day review appointment, the warranty tech or manager is going to call, like if it's something that has to deal with an outside supplier, they're going to call and schedule that appointment with you in person there, so that the appointment's set, you know that it's going to be taken care of, because a lot of what we do is managing contractors that help us to build the home. They'll repair and fix the techs things that they're able to in your home while they're there, maybe a door adjustment or things like that, but other items might need a third party, one of our vendors, to come back. And just because we have that same vendor that might need to do some warranty work in your home, working on a new home down the street, doesn't mean that that person should then come and fix your item. Lots of times our contractors have different people that work in the new home construction and different people that come and service the warranty items. So we want to be clear about that, because that can be a frustrating situation for some homeowners.
It is, and that's a good point of clarity. A lot of folks think that just because the HVAC guy is down the street and you've got an HVAC item on your list, that someone should be able to grab that person and say, come fix this. And that's just not the case. They have people within their organization that specifically go out and retro fix or make something right, or they're more specialists in that field as opposed to just installers.
Right.
And the other thing that I think that I find is that, most of our warranty coordination is with outside vendors. And you have to understand that there's not a guy with a Cornerstone Homes label on his shirt that goes around and fixes all these items that works for us. All of these items, typically, most of these items, are fixed by vendors that probably may have made a mistake in the first place.
Right.
And so the thing that I would say that's probably the most important in all of this process, and I know you've been hearing this, is patience, because we are trying to set an appointment with a vendor that may or may not have made a mistake. They're coming back out. They're not getting compensated for that. And so you can understand, in this busy world we live in and shortage of labor and everything, where that might fall on their priority scheme. And we can email and call lots of times and set appointments, and appointments get canceled. And none of that really is our fault.
Right.
It's important to be patient. It may take some time, but we will correct the items.
And that's part of our relationship with our vendors. I mean, they're contractually obligated to us and ultimately to you, the homeowner, to warranty your home and the items that they put in it for the first year. So we have the 45-day list, and then again, we go through that same process again at 11 months. I think one of the big issues with the 45-day and the 11-month is the paint and drywall touch-up. Right. And so that'll happen right for your NHO, and you'll have a paint and drywall touch-up. But then at 11 months, we don't do it at the 45-day time. We do it once. If you want it done at 45 days, we'll do it, but we won't do it again at 11 months. And we recommend, and our warranty team recommends, that we do that at 11 months, because your home is going to naturally settle and over the year that it's there, and climate changes and different things, you're going to have nail pops, you're going to have some cracks, and those things are going to need attending, and it's best to service that at your 11 month.
Right, because your home will have gone through a whole cycle of seasons at that point.
Right.
So whatever settling and cracking and things that are going to occur theoretically should have occurred at that point. Now, I have seen times where people have requested it at 45 days, and that's typically because they may want to do some custom painting in the house. Mm-hmm. And so once you do custom painting, then we don't come back and fix nail pops and things like that after that point. So there are rare occasions where people will do the paint and touch up at 45 days, but most of the time 11 months.
Yeah, and the 11-month process really just mirrors the 45-day process. It's just 11 months down the road. And so all of your appliances and some of your systems, and they'll go through that with you when they meet with you, that they're pre-registered. Some of them you do have to register yourself. So that whole process, because some of your items are warranted by the manufacturer. And that, you'll need to pay keen attention to in your NHO and with your warranty manager to understand which ones are registered, which ones you need to register yourselves, and that sort of thing. And I guess, we want to ensure that everybody knows where to get the 45-day list, where to get your 11-month list. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, the 45 and 11-day or 11-month lists come in the package that Kirsten has shown us here. But like I said, we are starting a new process where we are going to deliver those to you a week or so after your closing date, when our salesperson or team comes to see how you're doing in your new home. That way you've got it in multiple places, and of course, worst case scenario, you can always request it from the salesperson up at the barn or at the community center, wherever you are.
It's also available online under Contact Us. There's a warranty section, and you can download it there. It does need to be submitted in a PDF format and emailed to warranty@Cornerstone Homes. And our sales team.
Yeah, I want to say, for those of you that might not have that capacity at home, and that's completely understandable, we have to have it sent to us for that reason, to go in a permanent record, to have a track it. But if you are uncomfortable with getting it in a PDF form and emailing it in, feel free to bring it up to the sales office, and they will send it in on your behalf.
Yeah, and it's really just very basic. It just, has all of your, you would just handwrite all of your information on here, and then you would scan it in or set it up as a PDF and send it into warranty. And then we enter it in physically into our system, and key it in and make sure that it's tracked in our system. So in the vein of like everything on the paperwork,
right,
we need to clarify and make sure that everybody understands there's one list, right?
Right.
Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, and that's a common, and I put myself in the purchaser's shoes. I can understand. After we've taken the time to do this long NHO appointment and showing you not only everything, how the house works, but also noting the small items that we hope to repair before closing and that go on your NHO list. As we mentioned, that list goes into corporate and goes in your permanent file. Every time one of those items is completed and signed off on by the purchaser,
by the homeowner, yeah,
the homeowner, then that gets sent into corporate. It comes off your list. So if you can understand from our perspective, there is really just one list, and that list is what's in your permanent file. And it is the list of open items. Open items meaning things that have not been completed yet. What I want to make clear to the new homeowner is that handwriting and adding things to the NHO list is not going to help you. Those are the things that you need to start with your new 45-day list.
Right. So there's this period. You have your NHO. We finish the home for the next week, you close, and that NHO list was developed, and any items that were outstanding at closing are tracked through the NHO. At that point, you're starting your 45-day list. Once you close, you're starting that, and then you're submitting it at 45 days to us. And like we talked about, grabbing your site contractors to help you and put things on the list. That's not how that works. There are maybe some emergency situations that need emergency attention, and we certainly want to pay attention to that and service that. And that you get reviewed how to handle that in your NHO, and Jean and the warranty team will talk with you about those. They're also in your home buyer guide. Right. And there will be emergency, or there may be emergency situations, and we will attend to those. But generally, we're going to work on your NHO list. Your construction manager is going to finish those. You're going to initial off. It's going to come back to corporate. We're going to email back out the new open list with those items taken off that you've just initialed off. And we're going to continue to work on any open items. And they're only going to come closed once you initial. They come back to corporate, and we send you back that new list or the completed list. Nothing on it.
Right, and that's the goal. Hopefully before closing, or certainly soon after closing, the NHO list gets closed out, and then you're at the point where you're developing a 45-day list that gets evaluated to decide what things will be fixed or repaired, or explained why they wouldn't be. And we start the second list process.
Right.
So.
Are there any other pitfalls or things that we feel like that come up often that we might have missed?
I don't think so. Other than the confusion sometimes of who's responsible, and we've covered that.
Right.
Other than, I guess the last thing that I would want to probably bring up is that, again, we know that it's a stressful time. We know that you've had a relationship at that point with your construction manager for a long time while they've been building their house. I want you to understand that anything that has, if it isn't on paper, if the things that you've asked to be done are not on paper somewhere, that they're not going to get in the house. And so I would not ask the construction managers to do you a favor and move this or move that or add this or add that, because A, they're not supposed to do that. Sales would have to do that. And B, it's really not going to be enforceable down the road. I've seen a couple situations. Our crew that we have out there now has been with us for quite a while, but as everyone knows, there's a lot of turnover in the industry. Well, and just people leaving jobs. We see it on the news every day. If you have some verbal arrangement with a prior construction manager, which I have seen, that's not going to do you any good. So I would ask, please, that anyone that is requesting changes in the appropriate time frame that they can be made, they need to be on paper.
Yeah, and that's just it, is we need as a team to be able to organize and manage the process. And if it's not in our system, it's really not something that we're paying attention to or tracking or, being able to follow with our processes. And I guess the last thing I want to make sure that everybody knows is that we are a team at Cornerstone, and we all work really closely together. And something that we always talk about is our personal connection with all of our buyers. And every one of our teammates works really hard to make sure that you have a good experience and that you have a beautiful home. And we, there are a lot of moving parts in this business, and we try our best, everybody, to do the best for you. And certainly there will be times where we may fall short of that, but we want to ensure you that we all work together as a team, and that we support one another, and that we are all trying to deliver you a beautiful home.
Yeah, I agree. It's a culture of commitment.
Absolutely. Well, we hope that you found this valuable. If there's anything always that you would like to know more about or learn more about in a Tuesdays at 2, we're always open to your suggestions. Have a great afternoon. Thank you.